All right, what's going on, everybody? What is going on? Thank you very much for being here. Okay, it took a little bit longer than I thought. Getting some notes ready, getting some things ready for the show. So I appreciate you guys hanging out. That's it. The regular season is officially over. The Oklahoma City Thunder are the NBA champions. They beat the Pacers 103-91. We can all kind of start now looking forward to the following season. Got a lot to get into as we kind of wrap up the 2024-2025 season. And I think everybody's going to have, obviously their own thoughts on what we all just watched. And I'm sure that everybody's going to have their own opinion on this championship run. And we'll kind of try to tie some of this back to the Lakers and really looking forward. So I appreciate you guys being here. Make sure just one thing here. All right, I think we're good. Okay, so a lot of stuff I want to get into. To be honest with you, man, how disappointing of a Game 7. Are you kidding me? Tyrese Haliburton goes down with the injury that he went down with. I'm sorry. I really, really thought this was going to be a phenomenal Game 7, and it just sucked. It just absolutely sucked that's what it came down to. I'm going to kind of just give everyone a quick idea, a couple of the things that I'm going to be talking about in tonight's show. The Tyrese injury, I'm going to give the Thunder a ton of credit because they obviously deserve this. They are NBA champions. Anybody trying to take that away from them, I think you're looking at this the wrong way. I'll talk about some of the individual players, guys like TJ McConnell, Jalen Williams, a complete stud as well, as far as closing out, obviously closing out this game. I think you can see the emotions from the Indiana Pacers that they understand and they realize they may never, ever get another opportunity like this again where they got a legitimate chance of winning an NBA championship. It may never happen again. This kind of comes with the territory. This is why so many of these guys get emotional. The Indiana Pacers went through Milwaukee and went through Cleveland and went through the Knicks and were one game away from being the Oklahoma City Thunder. So clearly that's part of what the league is. It made me think a little bit of the Oklahoma City Thunder when they got to the NBA championship and it was James Harden, Russell Westbrook, and Kevin Durant. You're like, oh, these guys are going to be knocking on the door every single year. But obviously that wasn't the case, and they never got another opportunity. Shea's accomplishment was, obviously one of the greater accomplishments that you can possibly watch in the NBA and in one specific season. So he was phenomenal. If I get a chance to see some of these interviews, I did a couple post-game shows for the finals. If I get an opportunity to go on NBA.com and see anything else there, then we'll, I'll play a couple of these interviews. We'll go from there. I would really love to hear. I don't think we'll hear from them, but curious to hear if Tyrese Haliburton talks, if Carlisle talks, some of these other guys that lost. Okay, so let's just kind of start off here with the game. Let's give the game its credit. Let's give the Oklahoma City Thunder their credit as well. But it's impossible to talk about this game without talking about, obviously, what happened in the first quarter. Thunder win the game 103-91. Honestly, I was surprised how long the Pacers hung around once Tyrese Haliburton did get injured. And when you just kind of, we all know how the league works. If you lose your star player, especially in this kind of game, this caliber of a game, open up ESPN, the volume was on full blast, scared the living you-know-what out of me. When you lose one of your guys, it's such a gut punch to your squad. What was weird about it is Indiana was actually hanging around in the game. I mean, by halftime, they were up a point. I think Nembhard hit a 3, and they went up by 1. And then once the second half started, you could tell Indiana looked like, they could do everything they possibly can. They're missing their leader or one of their leaders. They're missing their guy that can, certainly make things happen from an offensive perspective, a guy that can dish out 10, 11 dimes. I want to say before Tyrese Haliburton went down, he hit 3 threes in that first quarter. So as much as Indiana tried to fight, you just kind of felt like it was a matter of time until Oklahoma was going to take over. I didn't think Oklahoma played great tonight, but they played with -1 on the other side in the Indiana Pacers, and all the guys really from Oklahoma City did just enough. I thought Shea, 29 and 12. Phenomenal. By the way, 5 rebounds is a reason why he was the finals MVP. I will tell you this. He couldn't hit a shot if his life depended on it. So he was just 8 of 27 and 2 of 12 from the three-point line. But he had 12 dimes. Jalen Williams, I thought in the second half had it going. Chet Holmgren started to get into a little bit of a groove as well. He also had 5 block shots on top of 18 and 8. They had a couple of guys coming off the bench. I thought Caruso hit a couple threes early on. Cason Wallace did what he can. So they had enough scoring, even though 103 is not a lot. They had enough to make it happen. But I think the storyline in Game 7, unfortunately, is it really didn't matter what happened. I thought once Tyrese Haliburton went down, it was sucked to see him in the postgame kind of coming through that locker room, and they were showing him just sitting there or standing there, I guess you want to call it, and doing everything he can to just step up his players, trying to be a leader, trying to show love to his squad. But the reality is obviously there was nothing he could do in that situation. Shea, to just hit on what Shea was able to do. So he obviously got the finals MVP. Not really difficult to make that decision. I think that was an easy decision for anybody. If they didn't make him the finals MVP, I don't know if they should be voting. Shea got the finals MVP. He also got the MVP of the regular season as well. The scoring champ. I saw some stat. I think they said he's the first player. Only 4 players have won MVP, the scoring title, and an NBA championship in the same season. Kareem, Michael Jordan, 3 times I think Michael did it, and Shaq, if I'm reading that correctly. Shaq did it back in 2000, so Shea is the first player to do that in 25 years. Thunder are the second youngest team in at least the last 70 years to win a finals with an average age per player of 25 and a half years old when weighted for playoff games played, according to the league. Only the 76-77 champion Portland Trailblazers were younger by an average age by about half a year per player. So kind of gives you, obviously gives you a little bit of an idea there. Man, my main takeaway from the finals, a little bit incomplete. I got to be honest with you. I'm just really, really disappointed we didn't get to see Tyrese Haliburton finish off this game. But that's there's a saying in sports, it's not the best team that always wins, even though you can make an argument OKC clearly probably the best team. But there's a saying, you don't have to be the best team. You got to be the healthiest and the hottest at the right time. OKC was healthy. And listen, maybe if Tyrese Haliburton's in this game, they still end up winning in Game 7. OKC could have definitely done so. But I got to be honest, I felt the vibe coming into this game, the way Indiana started the game, the pressure that was going to be on the Oklahoma City Thunder, the championship experience from Rick Carlisle, Pascal Siakam. I thought there were some areas where it's like, look, they're going to have a shot here in Game 7. And unfortunately, we're never going to know. Now, like I said, I remember doing when I used to do a pregame show, Michael Thompson, he'd always look back. There were certain finals he'd look back on. He's like, well, if Magic was healthy or if James Worthy was healthy, I know some Laker fans look back at 2004 say, hey, if Karl Malone was healthy against the Pistons, by the way, I don't even know if that mattered. Lakers lost 4-1. I'm sure the Golden State Warriors are saying, yeah, well, if Kevin Durant and Klay Thompson were healthy, or LeBron is saying if Kyrie was healthy, and injuries are a part of the game. And, unfortunately, I think in this series, it obviously played a significant impact in Game 7. But that's just how it works. That's just how sports works. It sucks to see it when it happens because you definitely want to see both teams at full strength, but that wasn't going to be the case. It also kind of sucks for the Thunder because I think it takes away a little bit from them. OKC did win 68 games. OKC were the favorites, the heavy favorites to win the NBA Finals. And it was really the Pacers that were just this unbelievable story. This story that I don't think anybody was expecting. I certainly wasn't. And then there you go. The moment I pick them, I did a video earlier today reacting to the KD trade. And I said, all right, guys, here's my prediction. I'm picking the Pacers. For the first time, I'm picking the Pacers. And then Pacers end up losing. So maybe I jinx this entire thing. But when I say that it kind of sucks a little bit for OKC is because even someone like me who's reacting right after the game, the thing that's sticking in my mind is not that, wow, look what OKC accomplished. Look how young they are. Look at, what they could potentially build for years to come. The thing that's my first initial reaction is, what the hell would have happened if Tyrese Haliburton was healthy? Because I don't think anybody from the Pacers didn't believe that they could win this game and didn't believe that they can beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. Okay, I'm gonna look at a couple of the comments here, and then I'll look at NBA.com and see if anybody's talking or reacting or anything like that. So we'll get a chance to do that. Thank you for hanging out, by the way. If you guys don't mind subscribing to the channel, would greatly appreciate that. I'm on tomorrow morning as well, so just a heads up. I'm back on my regular show at 8 a.m. Eric Pincus is going to join the show, so I'm looking forward to talking with him a little bit about not just this game, but obviously now we could all kind of shift our attention. I'll shift our attention towards the off season and shift our attention towards the NBA draft, which is coming up on Wednesday. So all this kind of a fun time of the year, all this stuff is coming up. All right, let's see what we have here. Let's see what we got here. Okay, here we go. Sucks that Haliburton out in the first quarter, or the game would have been much better. I agree with that. New season starts now. Trade Austin. I love how has nothing to do with anything, and people are already saying trade Austin. Trade Austin go get a big man for the Lakers. Okay, let's see some more stuff here. Let's see. Congrats, OKC. That was a fun series. They're a bunch of kids. Rob is now on the clock. OKC were excellent, as were the Pacers. Indiana and Haliburton are the new Warriors and KD. Same damn calf Achilles injury. Here's why this one is different. The Warriors with KD were overwhelming favorites, and the underdog won. And the underdog won. Listen, if KD and Klay Thompson are healthy, I don't think they're winning. But because they were healthy, or because they weren't healthy. The difference in this one is the Thunder were the favorites, heavy favorites. I mean, as big of a favorite as you could possibly have in the NBA Finals. And then it was Indiana, who were already kind of behind from that perspective, that end up losing one of their key guys. So that's why this one's a little bit different. Very happy for OKC, but this is a sad ending for the finals and season for every NBA fan, just slightly less for the OKC fans. Heartbreaking Game 7 when it was shaping up to be one for the ages. I'm telling you, I think that's how a lot of people are going to walk away from this series, or at least are going to walk away from that tonight. They're going to say, what if one of, the best playoff runs we've watched, not every single game. It's not that Tyrese Haliburton showed up every single night and was giving you 30 and 10 every night, but Tyrese was so clutch and such a key piece. And anytime he had a game where he had 20 plus, I want to say Indiana had a 85, 90% chance of winning that game. He had 9 in the first 6-7 minutes of the game. So he was obviously on his way to be very, very aggressive in this final decisive game. All rooting for Caruso because he looks like Usley. I know. We both have great hair. Let's spend a quick second on Alex Caruso. I think the Caruso piece, it's really the only tie to the Lakers that we have here. But I think if you do look at the Lakers and we have a little bit of a conversation of what the Lakers do moving forward and what kind of role players they get, obviously both Indiana and the Oklahoma City Thunder prove that you have to have depth in order to win an NBA championship. And that team that the Lakers had, I love when people say, Lakers, they didn't even deserve a championship. They just won in the bubble, and they wouldn't have won if it was in regular stadiums. Let me remind you who was on that team, and you tell me if that was a fluke when the Lakers won in 2020 or they had as good of a chance as any other team in the NBA. They had LeBron, Anthony Davis, Dwight Howard, Alex Caruso, KCP, Rajon Rondo, Kyle Kuzma, JaVale McGee, Avery Bradley. I know I'm missing players. They went 10 deep. I mean, you want to talk about needing you had star power, you had defense, you had a couple of bigs, you had wings, you had guards that could defend, you had youth, you had vets, you had everything. And I think watching Alex Caruso do what he did, first off, it was a really smart move by the Thunder to go make that trade when they made the trade for Alex Caruso. Certainly that paid off. And number two, I think it highlights that a team like the Lakers and this organization, they let one go. They let a good one go. He certainly wanted to win an NBA championship, and he certainly got a chance to do that. You got a couple guys now, right? KCP won a championship with Denver. You got Caruso winning a championship. A couple guys that were part of that championship roster that got the work done, and I do agree. I think there are a lot of Laker fans that were happy to see Alex Caruso make it happen and get it done. All right, let me look at a couple more here. Indiana Pacers played a lot better than maybe he was trying to say than people thought they were going to. You're probably right on that. Let's see. Pacers made a lot of fans, much more respect for that squad. That's such a good point. I think there are a lot of times, by the way, and you guys will know better than I will, so I'll just go on Twitter here and try to take a look. You're right. There's a lot of times where, you're watching sports and maybe it's not your squad or your team. And all of a sudden you're like, hey, yeah, I'm on board for this team right here. The Pacers were an easy team to root for. And so was Tyrese Haliburton, and so was Pascal Siakam, and so was TJ McConnell, whether you're a fan of him. TJ McConnell, what the hell? That guy, this guy against the Oklahoma City Thunder, one of the best defenses that we can possibly watch, was sizing up players and just going to work. It's like, I don't even know what the hell I'm watching. Is TJ McConnell getting to the basket every time? And he was. So they were a really, really easy team to watch and to root for. Like I said, I think that was great to say. All right, let me read something here. Manu Ginobili put out a tweet. I think this is going to explain what we were just talking about. Congrats, OKC, on an amazing season. Well-deserved NBA champ. Massive respect to the Pacers for being the ultimate example of resilience and courage. Lastly, I wish all the best to Haliburton on his recovery. Very sad to see him going down like that. So I think we all kind of feel that way, right? I think this comment, and I didn't see this comment. I just opened up Twitter and I saw that there. I think this comment talking about how somebody has a lot more respect for the Pacers and then Ginobili, the ultimate champion, right? How many ever he won with the San Antonio Spurs. I think it's a perfect example. It's a perfect example of rooting for a squad that we did not think had a legitimate shot. And I will tell you this, there were a lot of people that were on my chat that were telling me once Indiana got to – first they were telling me, hey, Indiana can beat the Knicks. And then there were a lot of people saying, hey, Indiana's going to make it a series against the Thunder. I thought it'd be a series, but I thought Thunder would win in 6. How about Shea? By the way, literally a brilliant – I thought of a couple things. First off, Shea, wearing the gold Converse right there. How many times does a player win a championship or finals MVP and it's instantly Nike? Look at Converse coming in. Converse is like, we got our guy. And here's Shea having this MVP season. He comes in with the gold shoes. The first time I don't think I've seen a Nike logo there. And then instantly Converse has the commercial right after the game for the finals MVP. I thought that was pretty cool. I'm watching it right now. They have it on X right now as well. All right, let me see what else is here. I'm just trying to see if there's anything else that I can look at that I can point out to everybody else. I heard some people talking about Haliburton and his injury. Do we know? Did they say anything about the injury? Is it too early for them to say? I mean, I hate to. Let's see here. Isaiah Thomas, calf strains are nothing to play with. The next thing, if not healed right, always Achilles. Man, I feel bad for you, bro. All right, so there's nothing official unless somebody else saw something somewhere else. But, yep, Donovan Mitchell. But these are all hours ago when the injury happened. These calf strains ain't no joke, man. Praying for Tyrese Haliburton. We'll see what his, obviously his official injury is. I think we could all make an assumption on it, but I don't want to make an assumption on it. I'd rather just wait. What I am going to look to see is if they are doing any post-game on NBA.com that allows us to grab some of these interviews and everything else, because I do want to see that. So I'm going to try to click on it as we're going here. and see if there's anything that I can grab that will have some news. Even if it's the Indiana Pacers, I mean, I don't mind at all. I'd actually be curious to hear what Indiana's got to say about the L. Okay, let's see what we got here. No Hallie in 26, selfish to think we can get Turner. I don't think Turner's going anywhere. And by the way, he didn't even have a good playoff run. I mean, or at least a finals run. I don't know how he did, but I'm not sure. I don't think there's going to be a chance. There were even reports saying that they'd go into the cap. They'd go into the luxury tax to keep him. So I don't think Turner's going anywhere. Remembering Shea doubters. After his trade from the Clippers, I'm super happy. Okay, this is actually what I was going to say when I start talking about Converse. And I'm looking at Shea. And Shea, listen, whether you like him or not, or, hey, maybe this guy foul baits too much, whatever the case is, Shea's a baller. The dude's not going out there and pumping his chest. He just shows up, he clocks in, and he clocks out. I hope a lot of people got a lot of respect for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think he's an absolute stud. But one of the things I was thinking of is I'm like, look at this guy. He's the MVP of the league. He's the finals MVP. He was the scoring champion. He did something that has only been done by 4 Hall of Fame, like elite, some of the greatest players to ever play the game, and hasn't been done in 25 years. And this dude at one point was on the Clippers and was part of that trade for Paul George. I mean, it just kind of shows you franchises out there that are so opportunistic and taking advantage of another team. And the Oklahoma City Thunder realized, okay, hey, whatever we're holding on to here, we're trying to hold on to the post-Kevin Durant. I mean, listen, OKC built a freaking championship type roster, and Sam Presti and you know, their ownership did. And KD just left and went to the Golden State Warriors. There's nothing they could really do about it. They kind of hung around for a couple of years. And then they realized, all right, we got to start selling our assets. They sold off Paul George. They sold off Russell Westbrook. They started kind of getting rid of everything. But can you believe that? At one point, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was an LA Clipper, was part of that trade. And by the way, I'm not here trying to, say, well, they shouldn't have made that trade. At the time, you were getting Kawhi, you were getting Paul George. I understand why that trade happened. But if you're a Clipper fan, you're sitting around there, you're like, damn, we have a Hall of Famer that is now an NBA champion and used to be on our squad and is now over there and winning a championship in OKC. Benson, I appreciate the super brother. Thank you for doing that. Slee, injuries are part of the regular season and playoffs. If Jason Tatum hadn't been hurt, Indiana may have not made it this far. Yeah, here's the problem with the Jason Tatum injury. I think they were toast. They were about to lose, go down 3-1 against New York, and they're just in the psyche of the Boston Celtics. It looked like they were done. They had 2 20-point leads at home in games 1 and 2 and lost both of those games. I get the point that you're trying to make, but I do think that the Celtics were done. I don't think the Pacers were done, and I do think the Pacers had a legitimate chance of winning Game 7. But that's obviously what happens here. Okay, let me look here. What are we doing here on the joining elite company? Shai Gilgeous-Alexander becomes 4th player in NBA history to win regular season scoring title, regular season MVP, finals MVP. I mentioned that. Shaq did it 25 years ago. Jordan only did it 4 times. Kareem did it, and now Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. So Kareem did it once. Shaq did it once. Shai just did it, and Jordan just did it 4 times. That's all. Just 4 times. My God, 4 times. Okay, there's a little post-game show action going on NBA.com. And I'm going to see if I could rewind back and maybe I could catch. Okay, Carlisle's talking. I want to listen to Carlisle a little bit. I think I got a lot of respect for him. I think a lot of people do. How can you not? Let's take a quick listen. Let's listen to Carlisle. Let me kind of cue this up here. Trying to do this all live takes a second, by the way, and try to cue it up properly. So let me get this thing started, and then we'll go from there. Okay, Carlisle's getting ready. Let me share my screen with you guys here so we can get started. By the way, thank you for hanging out. If you guys are always on the channel, appreciate you coming back. If this is your first time on here, please consider subscribing to the channel. All right. And for those, if we got some newbies here that are just looking, I do an NBA show / Lakers show every morning starting at 8 a.m. Here's Rick Carlisle talking about the loss.
I first want to congratulate Mark Dagnall, one of the great young coaches in all of professional sports, and his team. The way this season started and everything, they may have had those buses painted up back in December. So they'll have a great parade. They have great fans. This was a great series. I'm so proud of our players. I'm so proud of our organization. Our fans showed up big time tonight. It was really moving. What happened with Tyrese is just all of our hearts dropped. But he will be back. I don't have any medical information about what may or may not have happened, but he'll be back in time, and I believe he'll make a full recovery. So he authored one of the great individual playoff runs in the history of the NBA, with dramatic play after dramatic play. It was just something that no one's ever seen, and did it as one of 17. That's the beautiful thing about him. As great a player as he is, it's always a team thing, and so our hearts go out to him. But so proud of everyone, and so questions.
First question over.
Rick Jamal Collier from ESPN. Tyrese, we saw him greeting teammates on crutches after he was cheering from the locker room.
I'm not talking about his injury. I'm not giving you. I have no idea. I haven't heard anything about a diagnosis or anything.
At halftime, did he say anything to the team and the way you guys kept?
He was in the locker room, and he was very much a part of a group that believed that they could do this. Nembhard hit the shot at the end of the first half to give us a 1-point lead, and then we needed to come out of the locker room and be better in the first 5 minutes of the third quarter. We just weren't. I don't have the whole sequence of events, but they made some great plays, and we got off to a slow start, and that quarter was the killer. And then, but to me, the fourth quarter and the effort that our guys poured into the fourth quarter to win the quarter by 1 point was epic, and it was symbolic of what this team stands for, what basketball in Indiana stands for, and that there was no surrender. It was just it was all defiant fight to the end. And so I told these guys coming into this that there's no feel-good scenario when you get to the finals and are unable to get it done. And it really hurts on the one hand. On the other hand, this team has given all of Pacer Nation something to be very proud of.
Oh, we'll get one more in here. I think Shea talked too.
A little bit there about how much the team was able to fight in the fourth quarter, specifically the first half after seeing Tyrese go down. Your thoughts how they were able to battle then, and on top of that, is there anything that you could share with us that you said to the team after the game?
I'm not going to share anything I said after the game. Just a tremendous amount of gratitude for the character, the skill, how together they were, how hard they've continued to fight no matter what. I mean, you don't author comebacks like this team did really over the course of the entire season without just an indomitable competitive spirit to fight together. And that's what they were, and that's what they did.
All right, I'll stop it right there. I will say this, not that it matters, not that it's like the proper consolation or anything like that. Let me see if I can get back to. Okay, I'll go back to that screen here in just a second because I'm gonna queue up Shea. There is something. There was a little bit something about. He said something there at the end about the Pacers and how Indiana should feel proud about everything else. We get that. There's nothing more they could have done, right? If they were healthy, maybe they get a championship. Maybe they don't. But I don't think there's a Pacer fan out there that's upset at the effort that their squad gave. Or they're upset at their performance or the head coach or anything like that. He was very protective of Tyrese, basically saying he wasn't going to share anything, which is, obviously I don't blame him at all. I think if you're hopefully, and I don't know how this works. I'm not sure how the ratings are going to eventually come out or anything like that, but I hope there were casual fans that decided, hey, you know what? I'm just going to watch this because it's a game 7, or I'm going to watch the NBA Finals because it seems like it's a dogfight and it's 2-2 through the first 4 games or whatever the case is. Hopefully people appreciated what this was because, I know a lot of people I know in the NBA, casual fans want the big market and they want the stars. I do know in the NFL, that's not how it works. In the NFL, I was talking with a buddy of mine today, and I was like, if the Super Bowl were the Bengals and the Lions, it was Joe Burrow versus Jared Goff. Oh, everyone's watching. And the market didn't matter. The market doesn't matter. Or maybe it's not Patrick Mahomes, and maybe it's not, think of other stars that have been in this league, Tom Brady, blah, blah, blah. They're still going to watch. The NBA is just not there. But I hope this finals was a little bit of an example of like, hey, I could still watch good basketball and try and enjoy a series, even though LeBron's not in it, Steph's not in it, KD's not in it, the main players that seem to always be in the NBA finals. Okay. I'm going to queue up Shea because I want to hear a little bit from Shea, and then
second row.
I don't know if let me see here. Let me see if I can find Shea. I'm going to try to queue up Shea here real quick. And once I do, I don't know if the audio is going to keep playing. So once I do, we'll hear. Let me just hear like a couple of minutes. Shea Gilgeous-Alexander. We'll go from there.
All right. We're going to take first question over here on this corner on 1 in the gray jacket. Yep.
Iron Patton, OKC Sports Radio. Shea, you've been champion for about, 45 minutes. Does it feel as good as you thought it would feel? Just your thoughts.
Yeah, feels amazing. So much weight off my shoulders. So much stress relieved.
Can I say that real quick on the he said the weight off his shoulders? The Thunder got one. I mean, whatever the Thunder do moving forward, they got one. That front office got one. That ownership got one. They're only going to become more dangerous because they got one. It's funny how he thinks he had that much on his shoulders, but clearly they were expected to win.
No matter what, you go into every night wanting to win, and sometimes it just doesn't go your way. And tonight could have been one of those nights, but we found a way. I'm so proud of this group. I wouldn't have rather done it with any other group in the world. It feels good to be a champion.
Jenny over here.
Hey, Jenny Carlson with the Oklahoman. You have some of the most unassuming leaders at the top, whether it's Clay or Sam or Mark. I watched Mark just standing at the back of the podium or the stage there, watching everybody else. What's it like to be led by those 3 guys and see them celebrating tonight?
Yeah, I'm so happy for them. They put in so much work behind the scenes that not everybody sees. Don't always get the credit, but they've done an amazing job of building an environment, a winning environment. And it's no fluke why we're here and why we have so much success and why we've grown so quickly. Those guys have done a great job of just giving us a platform to be ourselves and be great. We did so.
Tim?
It's a real short list of guys who've won MVP and Finals MVP in the same season. You add the scoring title in there, that list gets even shorter. Now that you guys have crossed the finish line, are you able to wrap your head around that historic company that you've joined?
Yeah, it's hard to believe that I'm part of that group. It's hard to even fathom that I'm that type of basketball player sometimes. As a kid, you dream, and every kid dreams, but you don't ever really know if it's going to come true. And I'm just glad and happy that my dreams have been able to come true, and that's a thank you to everyone that's been in my corner that's helped me get here. I wouldn't be able to done without them. They know exactly who they are. So yeah, it's a win for the family.
All right, we'll go for one
Ramona
more.
on the right.
Shay, Ramona Shelburne, ESPN. You guys obviously faced some elimination games throughout this playoff run. There were moments when you admitted we sucked tonight, we didn't get it done. How did you guys push through those moments at such a young age here?
We prioritize winning. We don't prioritize anything else in this game. We want to win, and we want to win on the highest level. And that looks like something new every night, every opponent, every arena. And that's all we focused on this whole season, no matter if it was game 1, game 45, or game 105. We prioritized winning, and because we did so, we won on the highest level.
All right, we'll stop it right there. I think, final thing I'll just say here about the Thunder, and I think that the thing that probably sticks out to me the most, that's going to be a problem. That's the best thing that I can really say. I put out a video earlier today on the KD trade, and I thought the Houston Rockets getting KD, of all the scenarios, all the different places that he can go, I thought him going to Houston would be the biggest problem for a team like the Lakers. Now you got the Oklahoma City Thunder. They got the monkey off their back. They're good to go. I say monkey off their back. I mean, here's the reality. They're so young. I still don't think, if they lost in game 7 of the NBA Finals, I still think it was an impressive year. I still think their trajectory is only going to go up. This just means that now they're even more, dangerous moving forward because they got there, because they did it. Just naturally, their confidence will be better. Clay Helton and which is their owner, and Sam Presti, they'll be a little bit, however they are strategic and build, continuing to build their team. They got a chip, so they got to worry about it. Now you got Kevin Durant going to the Houston Rockets. Now you got, a team like the Golden State Warriors that I think will be in the mix. I'm just going to use as an example, what are teams like the Clippers going to do? What is Denver going to do? It's just going to get that much tougher. Now, the one thing that I will say, and I do think is a big benefit to the Lakers, it's going to take time for new ownership to kind of really put their imprints in. But at the end of the day, the West is the West. And I think Laker fans are going to be expecting a lot over these next 2 weeks to figure out, all right, how the hell do the Lakers kind of get back in the mix here? And how do they have a legitimate chance? And how do they build properly around Luka? There's a short-term plan, and I'm sure there's a long-term plan as well. But watch the way the Oklahoma City Thunder built their team. And I know they're kind of the one-off here, but drafting your own guys, developing your own guys, having the proper front office, identifying a coach that you think at a young age can go out there and still deliver. All these things are very, very important to see, how the Lakers kind of built for the future. And I actually think they'll start addressing all that stuff immediately. I really do. I think the new ownership is going to help them do that. So, but the Thunder deserve all the credit in the world. Pacers, phenomenal season for them. They fought all the way to the end. And I think the only thing that we all understand is we're all disappointed that we didn't get a chance to see just what this could have been if the injury didn't happen. Let me read a couple of these comments, and then we're going to call it a night. And then I'm back on tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. All right, let's see what we got here. Agree. Good series. Don't care about the ratings. A Clippers fan. Yeah, I'm with you. And here's the one thing I will say about the ratings, just so people understand this. The NBA just got a $70+ billion deal in their new agreement with all these TV partners. Clearly, the TV partners are not concerned about the NBA's ratings. So I know people want to make a big deal about it. I do think the NBA is different with how it's consumed. I do think the NBA is killing it on social platforms and everything else. I think much better than other sports. I mean, compare the NBA and MLB. I don't think there's a comparison. I think the NFL is the NFL. So I won't talk about the NFL, but the NBA is in a good spot. They're in a good position. I think anybody that just wants to hate on the NBA is just looking to hate on the NBA. It's the best way I can put it. I'm not telling you that the sport is perfect. I'm not telling you that Politics doesn't sometimes come into play, this and that. What I'm telling you is that the product is blown out of proportion of why people think it's good or it's bad. All right, let's see what we have here. More people saying no one should care about the ratings. Reggie Miller punching the air for sure. No question about that. I've learned how to mute my sneezes. I'm a sneezer. It just happens sometimes. But now I've adjusted. Let's see what we got here. Somebody had something on here about Houston saying, Houston gave up too much. I actually like the package that Phoenix got back. I don't know if they're going to keep Jalen Green. I really don't. I think a lot of people are not the biggest fan of, why am I forgetting his name? Who else was traded today? Jalen Green. How am I forgetting the guy's name? All right, I'm forgetting his name. You guys put it in there. But they got a number 10 pick back as well. They got some second rounders. I think it was like 5 second rounders. I don't know how much value there is in the second rounders. But I think they did probably the best. Dylan Brooks. Thank you very much. My bad. Dylan Brooks. I think they probably did the best they could. I don't know if they want Jalen Green. I think Dylan Brooks is actually a good I think that's probably a good piece to have with Phoenix. But here's the problem with the Suns. I don't know what they're trying to accomplish. Are they trying to win or are they trying to rebuild? So that's the problem with the Phoenix Suns. I just don't know what their game plan is. I do know if you go look at Şengün, Amin Thompson, obviously Fred VanVleet, you put in Kevin Durant. I think Ime Udoka is one of the best coaches in the NBA. They got some stuff to work with. So they definitely have some stuff to work with. Watch out for the San Antonio Spurs this upcoming season. So there's going to be a lot of teams trying to flex their muscle. All right, my people, that's all we got. This is it. This is the final game of the 2024-2025 season. Officially, the offseason begins now, or you could say begins tomorrow. The draft will be coming up on Wednesday. Free agency coming up, obviously, as well. So putting a cap to the end of this season, and we'll get ready for the 2025-2026 season to start getting underway. Thank you all for hanging out. Appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Please subscribe to the channel if you guys don't mind. Hope you guys have a great rest of your Sunday night. I will see you guys again tomorrow morning, 8 a.m. Eric Pincus is going to join the show. Have a great evening.